Okay, so when you think of Niagara Falls, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For pretty much everyone, right? It's this incredible, thundering wall of water, the very picture of raw, untamed nature. Yeah, I mean, it's a total icon. You've got millions upon millions of gallons of water just crashing down every single second. It just feels so ancient, uncontrollable, like this pure force of nature that we're just lucky enough to stand next to. In a lot of ways, it's what we mean when we say wild and untamed. But what if I told you that whole spectacular view is, well, kind of managed? That this supposedly untamed force of nature has actually been tamed? And that simple question, believe it or not, is exactly what we're going to dig into. All right, so let's peel back the curtain a little bit on something people call the Niagara Dial. It's a bit of a secret, but one that hides right out in the open. Or maybe, more accurately, hides in the dark. See, every single night after the sun goes down and all the tourists have packed up and gone home, something changes at Niagara Falls. It's a pretty huge transformation, actually, and it's one you would totally miss unless you knew exactly what you were looking for. That insane, powerful flow of water you see during the day, well, it gets turned down, like a lot. We're talking sometimes by as much as half. The roar you're used to, it kind of softens to more of a rumble. So you've got to be asking, how in the world is that even possible? Well, this is where we get to the heart of it. The source for this puts it perfectly. The falls you see are actually controlled by a dial. I mean, think about that. The Niagara Falls that we all visit and take pictures of, it's being operated. There's this massive system of gates and channels, and it lets engineers literally control how much water spills over the edge. The big takeaway here is, what we're really looking at is a carefully curated natural show. So this brings up the most obvious question, right? Why? Why on earth would anyone want to turn down Niagara Falls? I mean, it just sounds crazy to intentionally make one of the world's greatest wonders less wonderful. But the answer isn't about diminishing it. It's about redirecting all that incredible power. So where is all that water going? Well, it's not just vanishing into thin air. Nope, it's being put to work. Hard work, actually. It's powering millions and millions of homes and businesses on both the US and the Canadian sides. The whole thing is just this massive feat of engineering, specifically hydroelectric power. And the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. You use the force of moving water to generate electricity. It's one of the cleanest and most powerful ways to do it. And well, Niagara Falls has more powerful moving water than just about anywhere else on the planet. Okay, so here's the play-by-play for how it works every single night. First, a huge chunk of the river's water is diverted away before it can even get to the falls. Then, that water gets funneled through these absolutely enormous tunnels that lead to power plants further down the river. Once it's there, it spins these giant turbines, and finally, those spinning turbines, they're basically just giant generators, crank out a ton of clean renewable energy. So what are we supposed to make of all this? How do you even think about a natural wonder that is also, in a way, a machine? This is where things get really interesting, with this idea of nature by design. What you realize is that Niagara Falls is really living a double life. It's a tale of two faults. During the day, it's all about the show. The flow is cranked up to the max for the tourists, making it this breathtaking spectacle. But then, at night, its whole job changes. The flow gets turned down, and it becomes this workhorse, a massive power generator for our modern world. So does that mean Niagara Falls is fake? I don't think that's the right word. It's more like a partnership. A hybrid, really. You've got the incredible power of nature being harnessed by human ingenuity. And it's doing two jobs at once, giving us that sense of awe and wonder, and literally powering our lights. It's this really delicate balancing act, preserving a natural wonder while also powering our lives. And that kind of leaves us with this big, fascinating question to chew on. Niagara Falls is probably the most famous example of us managing nature like this, but it really makes you think, doesn't it? As we keep trying to build a more sustainable world and we keep shaping the environment to fit our needs, where else is this happening? What other natural places are actually a mix of wildness and engineering? And maybe more importantly, how does knowing that change the way we feel about them?